Some days, a headline lands like a body shot, and you can almost hear the faithful go quiet for a beat. Like, not again. That's exactly where we're sitting right now. One absence is about to force a real rewiring of the playbook. At the same time, there's a veteran name being floated that would change how defenses line up against us. And then, away from the lights, interviews are happening that could pull at the brains behind what we do best. One unexpected guy might have to step into a spotlight fast. So let me ask you, are you nervous, or are you ready to find out what this team is actually made of? If you're riding with the red and gold, go ahead and hit like, subscribe, and jump in the comments, because this is the kind of week that splits the fan base right down the middle. You know that weird, hollow silence when a star goes down and your mind instantly races to the worst-case ending? That's what it felt like when it hit. George Kittle Achilles tear. And yeah, I understand the first reaction. Your brain goes straight to, we're done. It's been that kind of season. But here's the thing, you don't replace Kittle. You have to reshape the offense so one guy isn't asked to carry an impossible loss by himself. And it's easy to forget we've already had to function without Kittle being the center of the universe. Week 1, on the road in Seattle, he missed most of that game after a hamstring issue, and San Francisco still found a way to get it done. Was Seattle the same team then as they are right now? No, but it proved something that matters. Kyle Shanahan's system can reassign jobs on the fly, and it changes how defenses have to prep for you. That's where Jake Tonjes stops being a footnote and starts being a real part of the plan. A lot of fans hear backup and translate it to nothing. But Tonjes has been productive this season. 34 catches, 293 yards, 5 touchdowns. That's not random. That's trust built over reps. Against Philadelphia, after Kittle went down, Tonjes popped with a 14-yard catch. And honestly, the bigger thing was he didn't look rattled. The Los Gatos native has been waiting for moments like this, and when his number gets called, he doesn't fade. Now, to be clear, nobody's asking Tonjes to become George Kittle. The way you survive this is by combining strengths, not chasing a one-for-one replacement that doesn't exist. Tonjes can be that steady target that keeps Brock Purdy on schedule, especially in 3rd and long, when you just need something clean, something dependable, and you can live to fight for the next set of downs. And then you've got Luke Farrell, who can shift the whole tone in the trenches. Farrell is the superior blocker, and if you want the run game to stay believable and the play action to still have teeth, that matters a lot. Kittle impacts everything: blocking, routes, energy, the whole vibe. Losing him hurts in every phase. Farrell can help make sure the structure doesn't cave in on itself, and I can already feel where the comments section is going with this next part. Kyle Juszczyk. Shanahan can flex him out, use him like a tight end, or turn him into that chess piece that forces defenses to tip their hand before the snap. Juszczyk has never been shy about wanting more touches, and if Shanahan is going to get creative to patch the hole Kittle leaves, this is one of the cleanest ways to do it. So before you start writing the obituary, ask yourself, do you want to sit in the grief of losing Kittle? Or do you trust this team to combine Tons, Farrell, and Juice into an actual plan that keeps the offense breathing? Because that adjustment is only step 1. And what's swirling next carries a totally different kind of weight. While we're still trying to wrap our heads around how the offense has to pivot, another storyline is sliding into view. Less about youth and upside, more about hunger. DeAndre Hopkins is at that stage of his career where nobody needs a reminder of his talent, but his legacy still has one loud empty space: a ring. And when a name like that starts getting linked to the 49ers, even as a maybe, you can feel the volume turn up across the bay. Look at the path. 1st-round pick. Years of being the focal point. Different quarterbacks, different systems. Hopkins keeps producing. In 2024, he went to Kansas City, hoping that was the shortcut to a Super Bowl. He got close and came up short against Philadelphia. Then he signed with Baltimore the following season and got close again, but it ended in that gut punch way, missing the postseason by a field goal. And he didn't rack up huge numbers there, under 400 receiving yards. But that's not really the point. The point is he's been chasing the final prize and keeps landing one step away from it. People have floated the Giants as a possible landing spot, but it's tough to picture Hopkins betting the last major chapter of his career on a team still climbing a long, steep hill. Jackson Dart might turn into something, but he's not prime Eli Manning right now, and New York isn't exactly banging on the Super Bowl door. So when you ask, who's actually built to take another real swing? The 49ers naturally get mentioned. Purdy has already shown he can drive an offense in January. Shanahan knows how to maximize smart veterans. And even with injuries on both sides of the ball, this roster is still wired for a playoff run. Here's the detail that matters, because the wording matters. With the Ayuk situation basically off the field and his future cloudy, the offense has had to lean harder on Juwan Jennings and Kendrick Bourne. Those guys have stepped up. Still, depth is a real question, and the next offseason brings uncertainty. Jennings and Ayuk are slated for free agency in March, and that means the receiver room could shift fast. If you're trying to keep Purdy's rhythm intact, adding a veteran like Hopkins, even for a single season, starts to make strategic sense. He wouldn't have to walk in as the savior. He could be the chain mover in the red zone, the steady hands on third down, the guy who punishes single coverage when defenses get too comfortable. And he could be that locker room presence that shows younger receivers what it looks like when someone is still chasing a ring with urgency. Nothing is confirmed here. It's just talk. But it's the kind of talk that makes you sit up and go, wait, what if? Because if that idea ever turns into a real move, it changes how defenses have to play the 49ers in 2026. And don't blink, because the next part isn't about who catches the ball. It's about who's building the whole blueprint. Because right when you think all the noise is injuries and roster juggling, the league starts circling the minds on the sideline. The interest isn't only in 49ers players, it's in the people shaping the offense. Clay Kubiak has gone from promising coach on staff to a legitimate target. The Steelers have shown interest, and according to Sports Illustrated insider Albert Breer, the Las Vegas Raiders are scheduled to interview Kubiak on Sunday for their head coaching vacancy. That timing matters. Kubiak is in his 5th season with San Francisco, and it's his first year as offensive coordinator. A lot of people assume serious head coaching buzz wouldn't arrive until the next cycle, maybe 2027. But the NFL doesn't always wait for the timeline you think makes sense. When teams get desperate, they jump early. Under his direction, the 49ers finished the regular season 7th in total yards, 10th in scoring, 5th in passing yards, and 24th in rushing. Not perfect, sure, but productive, especially considering everything this roster has been fighting through. The passing game stayed efficient, and the offense looked like it had answers more often than not, even when the body count kept climbing. And for teams like the Raiders and maybe the Steelers, that's exactly what they're shopping for. It's still unclear when Pittsburgh plans to interview him, but the broader point is simple. When multiple teams are sniffing around your coordinator, it's not random, it's respect. It's also a threat to continuity. Losing an OC isn't just next man up. It can shift rhythm, language, and the weekly problem solving that keeps an offense sharp. And if that thought already makes your stomach turn a little, brace yourself, because the next name in head coaching rumors can hit the faithful even harder. Because there's interest, and then there's the guy who feels like the identity of your defense. Robert Saleh reuniting with San Francisco was arguably the best move the 49ers made last offseason. In a year full of injuries and rookies learning on the fly, Saleh did the kind of work that doesn't always show up in a neat little stat, but shows up where it counts. Points allowed when the pressure is highest. Holding the Seahawks and Eagles to a combined 32 points in Week 18 and the wild card round isn't nothing. That's discipline, adjustments, and an edge, an attitude that's become part of this team's DNA. Saleh has kept the unit respectable through chaos, and the league has absolutely noticed. Shanahan knows what time it is. Saleh wants back into the head coaching ranks, and with so many jobs opening up, he's going to be a hot commodity. Saleh told reporters he's holding off on scheduled interviews until after the divisional round matchup against Seattle, which buys a little breathing room. But it doesn't stop teams from lining up. And one rumor has been louder than the rest. ESPN's Dan Graziano has circled Las Vegas as a projected 2026 destination for Saleh, noting the Raiders have had him on their shortlist before, and his work in San Francisco this season has grabbed attention. The Jets' tenure didn't go great, sure, but honestly, most people don't exactly thrive there. Teams don't sound like they'll let that stop them from talking to him this time around. Vegas can offer something tempting: the #1 overall pick in April's draft and plenty of cap space. That's resources and a clean slate. And as Graziano pointed out, whoever takes that job has to have a plan for offensive coordinator and the development of a young quarterback, likely Indiana's Fernando Mendoza. Saleh is tied into the Shanahan-McVay network, so building an offensive staff wouldn't be the hard part. That's why this hits close. Saleh isn't just a coordinator. He's culture. He's energy. He's the guy who gets the defense playing fast, violent, and connected. Losing him would mean another reinvention in 2026, and that's not a small thing. So here we are, faithful, living in that tension between pride and fear. Without Kittle, Shanahan has to combine Tonges, Farrell, and Juszczyk to keep the offense functional. With Hopkins being floated as a possible future addition, the receiver room conversation gets real, especially with the uncertainty around Ayuk and the looming free agency questions. And with Kubiak and Saleh drawing interest, the staff itself is getting tested. Now, I want to hear it from you. Out of these 4 storylines, which one worries you the most? And which one actually fires you up? Hit like, make sure you're subscribed, and drop your take in the comments, because I want to hear where the faithful stands on this.